Oh, hello and welcome to the Niall Fraser Show on Wednesday, the 21st of August in the year 2024. The usual suspects tonight: Lawless Britain. Is it Lawless? We're looking at the sheer number of stabbings in the UK and ask the question, is Britain lawless? The SNP continue to have the reverse Midas touch. Scotrail disaster deepens. Angus Robertson launches with the Israelis, but he doesn't smile, not even once. And of course, we'll be delving into the latest drug death figures. All this and more coming up on the Niall Fraser Show. But first, the best part of the show, the intro music. Let's go. Can't help but being hyped up for a show with that intro music. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at less than 70 viewers. This is rookie numbers, guys. Please do me a favor, hit the like button or whatever it is. Share it, share the broadcast, get more people involved, get the comments in early because we've got a bumper show tonight. I said we'll probably go to 10 o'clock, but I doubt we'll make it that long. So, the first topic of this evening. Oh, is Britain lawless? There just seems to be so many instances of stabbings, of mass stabbings occurring in Britain that what you wonder, Should the Scottish Government put stab vests in with the baby boxes as they're coming out? It seems like Britain is going down the tubes rather quickly. And if you've got all these news articles, oh, stabbing here, stabbing there, stabbing here, stabbing there, you'd think a lot of people are going to start arming themselves. You would think that. Anyway, let's dive into the stories. We've got our first comment in. Oh, Brucey boy. Everybody's on the YouTube. Right. Right. So, first, let's go through. I've got a whole big list of articles with stabbings. And it's all happened in the last few days. Right, so let's see if I can share this. Add this to the stage. Right. Where is it? This one. Edinburgh man in hospital following stabbing, in huge quotation mark. Stabbing on housing estate. A day ago, ladies and gentlemen, a day ago, a man was rushed to hospital following a serious assault in Edinburgh at the weekend. Looks like a nice wee cul-de-sac there. At around 12:25, just after midnight on Saturday, August 17th, emergency service scrambled to Peebles Terrace in Muirhouse following reports that a 33-year-old man was stabbed in a property. He was raced to the Royal Infirmary for treatments. His current condition is unknown. A 37-year-old man was arrested in connection but has since been released as the investigation continues. The guy's been released. A Police Scotland spokesperson said, around 12:25 a.m. on Saturday, August 17th, 2024, we were called to a report of a 33-year-old man seriously assaulted within a property on Peebles Terrace, Edinburgh. He was taken to Royal Infirmary of Edinburgh for treatment. 37-year-old was arrested in connection with the incident and has since been released pending further charges. So we're not even keeping suspects. We're not even keeping, so we're just letting them go. We're just letting people go. And the next story is actually ridiculous. Actually ridiculous. We'll share this one. So this one happened a few years ago. Murder bid horror. Chilling moment. Asylum seeker tries to kill his own lawyer in Glasgow office by stabbing him in the chest in bloodbath attack. Bloodbath attack. Now let's read the article. Let's read the article. The numbers are looking good. We're over 100 now. Keep sharing the broadcast. Right. This is the spine-chilling moment. Asylum seeker strolls into a solicitor's office seconds before launching into brutal murder bid. Brutal murder bid. And you just the sheer ridiculousness of this. The CCTV clips capture. Oh, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this name. Isaias Nagus, 37, preparing to plunge a knife into the chest of Mohammed Shweeb, 71. Here he is, freed early from jail and had several convictions in Scotland. Wait, just read that one again. Freed early from jail and had several convictions in Scotland. Freed early from jail. Hello? Hello? Is anyone in there? Police Scotland? Hello? McFly? We can't be releasing guys like this. What's going on? Do we not have prison? Like, I know the capacities here in Scotland are ridiculous. Like, it's getting to the point that judges, it's not even getting to the point, we're at the point in Scotland now where we're not sentencing people on the severity of their crimes. We're sentencing people on the capacity of our prisons. This is what's happening here in Scotland. So here, the police tape seen around the officer as probe into knife rampage was launched. Mohammed Shweeb earlier told the High Court in Glasgow he feared for his life. I bet he did, getting stabbed up. I bet he did. Video footage released by prosecutors show Nagus, sorry about that, arriving at the office in Victoria Road, Glasgow. I might even try. Where is Victoria Road? Sorry, guys, I'll find out where it is. Through Google Maps. Right, so it's in Govanhill. I could have told you that prior to even looking it up. Honestly, it's ridiculous. Govanhill is an absolute cesspool, and if you live in the area, I suggest you leave. Arriving at the office in Victoria Road, Glasgow, wearing a red jacket and baseball cap with sunglasses perched on top. A worker welcomes him, oblivious. The man is armed with a knife and preparing to launch a near-deadly assault within minutes, because that's what you don't expect. You don't expect someone to walk into a solicitor's office and start stabbing people, you know. But here we are. Here we are in Scotland, 2024. Well, this happened in 2022, but somehow this has come back. This has come back, right? Images emerged as Angus was caged for 11 years for the rampage, which happened after he was released early from a stint in jail. The body assault on September 12, 2022 came after Angus had racked up 11 previous convictions. 11 previous convictions. At what point, right, is this guy an asylum seeker? Asylum seeker. Right, at what point, guys? At what point does an asylum seeker then get said, oh, see your asylum bid? Fuck off. No way. This guy is seeking asylum in Scotland. No way, Jose. No chance. Absolutely no chance. Just listen to this. 11 previous convictions. How many? Surely 10 is enough. Surely Police Scotland and the judges are like, hold on a minute. We've got 10 previous convictions here. Maybe you should be deported. Maybe you shouldn't be allowed in Scotland. No? At what point did we just say, hold on a minute, this guy is not welcome? Surely we as citizens have got a say in who should be allowed to join our society. Surely we as citizens have got a say in that. We can't have people with 11 previous convictions on the asylum register trying living in Scotland. We just can't. We just can't. It's simply outrageous. It's outrageous. This guy should have been deported after 4 or 5. Or maybe, see if I had my way, it would be 1. It would be 1. Anyone seeking asylum in Scotland, if I was in charge, if they had 1 conviction, just 1, they would be turfed out, deported immediately. That should be the prerequisite on coming to Scotland. If you want to come and join our society, you play by our rules. You join in our society. You're not coming into our society and then trying to alter it. No, you've come here for a reason, and you want to stay here. You live under our rules, our house, our rules. But we've just totally given up the goat on that. Given up the goat. But when he was released early, Angus, whose wife and child earlier drowned in a channel crossing, which I don't believe, which I'm not even afraid to say, I'm not scared to say, I don't believe this. I don't believe this. I just don't. If this guy's got 11 previous convictions, surely he could probably lie about this. We don't see any women and children coming across in dinghies. We just don't. It doesn't happen. He unleashed a brutal attack that left Mr. Schwabe fighting for his life. He cut a very different figure as he stood in the dock today to learn his fate before Judge Colbeck. So this guy, he's claiming asylum in our country. He's claiming asylum in Scotland. And yet now we, the taxpayer, are going to have to, well, one, endure this guy living here. This guy, he's a walking danger to Scots. And yet he's allowed to walk the streets, right? Now we're paying for him to be in prison. You attempted to murder a solicitor representing your interest. This is the IQ level of this. It's just absolutely subterranean. It's under the floor. This guy's lost his mind. He should not be here in the first place. Should not be here in the first place. The usual suspects, ladies and gentlemen. Lawless Britain. The usual suspects. That's just one. Let's go onward. Let's go onward. Oh, it gives me no satisfaction. We had this just the other week as well. Just the other week. No thanks, Daily Record. I don't want notification. Young girl stabbed in Leicester Square was visiting London to see Taylor Swift. So this article's a day. Layla Johnson, 11, was left seriously injured after she was placed in a headlock and knifed while sightseeing with her mum in London. What a sight! Oh, we're just sightseeing. Oh, we're just... London is not for tourists anymore. If you're going to London, I suggest you don a suit of armour and take a sword, because that, or at least use a horse or something. This is just outrageous. London is lawless in all manner of the word. It's absolutely lawless. There's so many stabbings, so many crimes that we're getting. We see people on scooters stealing phones out of people's hands just as they walk along the street. London is lost, ladies and gentlemen. It's absolutely lawless. Sadiq Khan should be put in the dock. Sadiq Khan should be investigated for criminal crimes against Britain. That's what he should be doing. Sadiq Khan should never be in office for so long. An 11-year-old placed in a headlock and knifed while sightseeing with her mum. Young girl allegedly stabbed in Leicester Square was visiting London to see Taylor Swift. It has been revealed. Seriously injured after she placed in a headlock and knifed while sightseeing with her mum in central London. In Leicester Square, guys. I've walked about Leicester Square. I'm lucky I didn't get stabbed. It was a few years ago. But I've walked about Leicester Square. It is the tourist hotspot. Is there anywhere safe in London? Is there anywhere safe? I don't think so. Nowhere is safe in London. Nowhere. No, if Leicester Square things, if things are happening right in the tourist areas, this is terrorism, ladies and gentlemen. This is what it does. This is what happens. Do you think people are going to think twice about visiting London, walking about Leicester Square with their 11-year-old daughter? They're not going to go. They're not going to visit London anymore. This is what terrorism does. It strikes fear. It stops you doing certain things. It stops us walking about the streets. Seriously injured. She was placed in a headlock and knife while sightseeing with her mum in central London on August 12th, as reported by The Mirror. Pair were said to have been stabbed by an attacker. The pair, so it was a mum attacked as well, at 11:30 a.m. outside a tea shop. Sorry if I just keep pausing. It's so outrageous. It's so rage-inducing that this is allowed to happen. This is allowed to happen. Where's the king? Where's Keir Starmer on this? Where is our leader? He's supposed to be leading the country, ladies and gentlemen. Keir Starmer is hiding in a bunker. We've got a video of him later on. He looks dejected. He's lost. He's out at sea. No one's coming to help the guy. He's useless. She's likely to need plastic surgery as a result of her injuries. The 11-year-old is likely to need plastic surgery as a result of her injuries. It doesn't bear thinking about. It's disgusting. It's horrible. Oh, and the guy had no fixed address. Charged with attempted murder and possession of a bladed article. See, possession of a bladed article. That's like half of London at this point. It is. It's like half of London at this point. Let's go on. Here's the picture of Leicester Square. Look at the police cordon. People are still walking about doing their daily thing. Oh, yeah, somebody got stabbed. Anyway, I have to get a Subway. I have to get a Pret a Manger. I have to go and get a Starbucks. You know, life goes on. But this can't be happening on the streets of Britain every single day. It can't be happening on the streets of Britain every other week. It cannot be happening, period. And yet it is. The usual suspects, ladies and gentlemen, the asylum seekers, the people who are arriving on boats, the people who are arriving on dinghies. Do you think they've got a vested interest in making Britain great? Hello? I don't think so. What a total farce. Mr. Pintereau was remanded in custody at Westminster Magistrates Court due to appear at Old Bailey in September. Statement following issue, blah, blah, blah. I just want to see if this guy's an asylum seeker. I think he is. He was. She still got the chance to see Swift in London, a London performance thanks to the help of an Australian. It's honestly, it's almost too much to read, guys. Well, I had the story up, but it's unavailable now. What's that about? What's that about? Right, so this is a different one. Let's read this one. What's another one? Edinburgh Live. When was this done? 14th of August. A week ago. Muirhouse Park. Again. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Hold on just a moment. Where is that article? Where is it? Where is it? Sorry, guys. I'm a bit disorganised, I suppose. I think it's this one. Anyway. It's the same place as where the other one was. A week ago. Muirhouse Park. So twice in a week. Twice in 2 weeks, sorry. Muirhouse Park cordoned off by officers as they responded to a serious assault of a 43-year-old woman. So it's not a 33-year-old man this time. 33-year-old man this week. 43-year-old woman last week. Rushed to hospital for treatment of her injuries. Picture a guy in a Hips t-shirt. Locals living on an Edinburgh housing scheme have told of their horror after an alleged stabbing on Wednesday morning. Muirhouse Park was cordoned off by officers as responded to a serious assault of a 43-year-old woman. She was rushed to hospital for treatment of her injuries. The incident took place around 5:20 a.m. Right, so this is right early in the morning. What's happening in these housing estates? Is this drug related? Who the hell is up at 5:20 a.m. if they're not on serious drugs? Unless you're up running a marathon. I mean, seriously, what's happening? What is happening? According to locals, police were in the area to carry out investigations with forensic officers scouring the scene. Several local residents have spoken out and claim Muirhouse is a better place than it was years ago. What a ridiculous statement that was. We've had 2 stabbings in a week. Muirhouse is better than it was years ago. It's better than it was years ago, yet we've not had that many stabbings. What a joke. See, it's a different area this time. One retired local, Willie Adams. I think that's Willie Adams there. I don't even know when it happened or started. I'm surprised because I'm involved in the community. No words have been spread. Nobody knew what was going on. When you see someone in a white suit, you know something is wrong. It's just so strange. Muirhouse has had the same reputation for around 40 years. It's a better place than it was years ago, even though this has happened. All the neighbours knew each other in the wee 6 blocks. It's rare that people don't know each other around here. Another residents who wish to. This is the best bit. This is the best bit. I read this the other day and I was like, this is just ridiculous. Sorry, I'm getting really annoyed. All the neighbours knew, blah, blah, blah. Another resident who wished to remain anonymous said his car was blocked in due to the number of police units at 5 a.m. He added, it happened really early in the morning. I was leaving at around 5 a.m. and had no idea what was happening. The police were still here at around 10 a.m., but there were no sirens or anything this morning. So when I came outside, I was taken aback and was like, what's going on here? This is the classic Scottish statement here. The police were outside. It was still here at 10 a.m., but there was no sirens or anything this morning. So when I came outside, I was taken aback and I was like, what's going on here? I couldn't get out because the number of police cars. Connor Law also stays in Muirhouse Park and spotted the cordon out his window. He saw a number of police and forensic officers. Said, I didn't know what was happening. I mean, people said they could hear screaming and that there was blood on the road. A 52-year-old man has been arrested in connection and inquiries are ongoing. Police Scotland spokesperson said around 5:20 a.m. Wednesday, 14th August, officers received a report of a serious assault in Muirhouse Park. A 43-year-old woman was taken to hospital for treatment. A 52-year-old man has been arrested in connection. Inquiries ongoing. That's it. Oh, yeah, just a stabbing. Move along. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see. Just another stabbing. Just another one. Oh, here's another one. Down in England. Oh, Hackney stabbing. Man slashed as fight breaks out outside a Clapton supermarket 2 days ago. Oh, excellent. A man has been stabbed after a fight broke out outside a Hackney supermarket, because when you're going to get your food and your groceries, you just might end up in a sword fight, in a knife fight. This is Britain in 2024 under Keir Starmer, ladies and gentlemen. You're just going to look at the nice wee picture there. You're just going to pick up some groceries. You're going to pick up some fruit and vegetables, and you end up in a knife fight. What the hell is going on? Police were called at around 12:40 a.m. This is afternoon on Monday. So this is broad daylight in an afternoon on a Monday. A stabbing outside a Leaf food centre in Upper Clacton. London ambulance service rushed to the scene, found a man in his 20s. Young guy suffering from a stab wound. Taken to hospital and his injury is not life-threatening. A shop worker told the Standard a fight broke out inside the shop. A friend of the shop who was helping clean up the aftermath explained that two men came inside and attacked a third man. He added a lot of alcohol was broken. The guys ran and came back. There was alcohol, blood. Now we have to clean. See, this is what the guys. This is what this guy's concerned about. Now we have to clean up. Now we have to clean up. What horrendous joke. At the bottom, everywhere there was alcohol. Too many bottles were broken. The guy went behind the till. Then the guys ran. Then the guys ran away. Then they were scared because he had a knife in his hand, a big knife. I don't know what happened. There was too much blood. Listen to this. Listen to this, guys. Then the guys ran away. Then they were scared because he had a knife in his hand, a big knife. This will make you want to visit Clapton, won't it? What an advertisement for Clapton. You know, you're going for groceries on a Monday morning in the afternoon, just picking up some fruit and veg in a knife fight. Guys just fighting with big, huge knives. A big knife. Quoting one of the witnesses, I don't know what happened there. There's too much blood. Let's continue reading this. Shop remained closed on Monday afternoon. A broken glass could still be seen on the floor outside. No arrests have been made. No arrests have been made. Oh, well. Lawless Britain, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me in the comments, are we approaching total anarchy, total lawlessness? I mean, who are you actually going to support? What happens when you can't even walk the streets in relative safety? What happens? Tell me in the comments. What happens when you can't even walk about the streets in relative safety in Britain? It's ridiculous. The attack follows a string of shocking stabbings in Hackney in recent weeks. Last month, bus driver Derek Thomas 53, was stabbed to death on his way home from work. Scotland Yard took the unusual decision to release details of the suspect, Kamar Williams, 33, who lives in the Isle of Dogs. Details of the suspect? I thought they said they hadn't arrested anyone. Or is this new crime? Sightings of Williams, known to frequent East and South East London, should be reported. So they've not found the guy. Days earlier, a 15-year-old boy was stabbed to death in broad daylight around half a mile away after picking up his younger sister from primary school. I'm absolutely burning up here. I'm getting so irate. What is going on in this country? 15-year-old boy stabbed to death after picking up his younger sister by primary school. Bus driver, 53, stabbed to death on his way home from work. Knife fights in the supermarket. Paramedics battled to save the teenager, Farrell Garcia, as he staggered from near Benfold Primary School for about 50 metres before collapsing. Anyone with information on the Clapton stabbing is asked to call police. So the police are not even... They're relying on the public again, guys. What is going on? What is going on? The police at this point, they're not fighting crime. Are they? Are they fighting crime? I don't think so. What are they doing? They're policing Twitter for bad words. They're policing Facebook for bad words. They are jailing people. They're emptying the prisons of vicious criminals, of violent criminals. And they're filling them up with word crime, thought criminals, word criminals. People who are inciting violence by saying things online. Hold on a minute. When there's just death and destruction on the streets of London every other day. And yet the police focus, Keir Starmer's focus, is on word crime. It's not on the people, the teenagers dying. It's not on the 15-year-old boys dying after picking up their wee sister from school. No, they're not focusing on that, ladies and gentlemen. They're focusing on getting you afraid to say anything online. They're getting you afraid to say anything in public, basically. They're just, it's ridiculous. Keir Starmer should be ashamed of himself. The Met Police should be ashamed of themselves. The whole police across the entire country of Great Britain should be having... They should be getting a massive slap, is what they should be getting. It's ridiculous. Craig Houston said the comments disappeared. I can only see chat on YouTube. Oh well. Oh well, I guess I've been excommunicated. Although, who actually cares about YouTube? I don't care about YouTube at all. I think it's a dying medium. It's all right to get your content there, but every one of my things is just getting taken down. I don't care. YouTube can go take a flying F to itself. Right, we've still got more. Well, there is more, guys. There's more. Don't worry. There's more stabbings. Boy, 13, repeatedly stabbed in attack near Glasgow's Queen's Park. This was in March. 13-year-old boy. Hospital. Serious injuries after being repeatedly stabbed in an attack near Glasgow's Queen's Park. 8:30 at night on a Friday. Suffered multiple stab wounds. Taken to the Royal Children's Hospital. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Sorry, I think we are getting some comments in on Twitter, but I'm not seeing any. So if you want to comment, just jump on the YouTube. You can see it through my profile, and then just jump on that and get a comment in if you want. But let's read the story. It's just, honestly, it just fills me with dread. Becoming a dad. For a 13-year-old boy to be stabbed and then taken to the Royal Children's Hospital. I'm glad he's in a stable condition. I hope he's all right. We will have a continued police presence in the area, and anyone with any concerns can approach the officers. Any concerns that you may have, you can approach the officers. Any concerns that you may have, you can approach the hospital, the officers. Well, I've got concerns, Police Scotland. I don't think we should have asylum seekers like this guy, Assayas Nagus. I don't think we should have people like this in Scotland. I don't think we should have people like this in Great Britain. I think if they've had one instance of criminality, if they're seeking asylum, gone. If you want to come to Great Britain, you have to live and abide by our rules. One strike as an asylum seeker and you are gone. That's how it should be. That's how it will be eventually. Right. So let's get back to the story on the 13-year-old boy. We believe the area was busy at the time and keen to speak to anyone with any private CCTV, dashcam, doorbell, or any other footage to assist with the inquiry. Because again, Police Scotland can't do any work. Let's rely entirely on the public. If you've got any footage, please send it to us, because we need your help. Police in this country have become a total and utter laughingstock. You know what I think of the police now? I think they are glorified cleaners. They're glorified cleaners. Unless you've been saying bad things online, then they're right on you. If you say bad things online, they are at your door in a flash. Knock, knock, knock. Who's that? It's the police. But if you're just out stabbing people in Glasgow, they'll just rely on the public to sort of track you down. God in heaven, ladies and gentlemen. What an absolute disgrace our country has become. It is absolutely despicable. Let's see if I can get the story again. No, the story's unavailable. I mean, let's just see it which as a test case. Let's do this. Just a quick Google search, ladies and gentlemen. I will type stabbing UK, and let's share this page. Let's share this page. This is stabbing UK, right? That's it. It's all I've searched. Girl 8 stabbed in block of flats. Girl 9 stabbed in street after playing with a friend. Girl 8 stabbed at a block of Dorset flats. Girl 9 stabbed in a block of flats. Man in 20s and women in 50s. What? Girl 11 stabbed. King Charles visiting victims of stabbing. It's non-stop, ladies and gentlemen. It's all the time. It's every single day. At what point do we say, no, actually, we need to arm ourselves here? If you're going out in public, it is not safe. You have to wear, at this point, the UK government should be providing every man, woman and child with a stab vest. If they can't provide safety and security on the streets, then they may as well just be providing stab vests. You know, they could eliminate the police, eliminate the budget of all the police, eliminate every single police station in the land, and just use all that money to provide every man, woman, child with stab vests. We would end up in the exact same place. We would end up in the exact same place. The police aren't doing their job. The government's not doing their job. Nothing is working in this country anymore. We've got simply it's unbelievable how many stabbings there have been. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Why would you want to visit Britain? Why would you want to visit London? Why would you want to go about? You can't even go and get your fruit and vegetables in Clapton without seeing a knife fight. Look at it. Get away. We'll open up that one. In fact, let's watch it. Let's read this one. Let's share this. I'll accept your cookies. Whatever. Stab horror. Girl 9 stabbed in a blocky flat as a man in 20s, women in 50s arrested. Air ambulance was seen hovering above with the blocky flats. So again, how many air ambulances will we need? There's so many stabbings. There's so much death on our streets. There's so much viciousness and violent people walking the streets. It's unsafe. A schoolgirl has been stabbed in a blocky flats and a man and women arrested. A girl, a youngster, 9 years of age, in Dorset. Taken to hospital. Injuries believed to be non-frightening. Thank God. Man arrested. And this is what we get. This is what we get. Man arrested, 20s. Women in her 50s arrested of assisting. We don't get anything about the story. It's always man arrested. You know, we don't get any description because it's seen as racist to describe criminals. What a farce. What an absolute joke we have become on the world stage. Britain has just, it's the epitome of societal decline is Britain in 2024, ladies and gentlemen. It's the epitome of societal decline. We'll have a wee segment on that towards the end, but we'll go back to that. But again, this is just another, just a quick Google search. Do it yourself. Stabbing, UK. Let's look at another one. Let's look at another one. Share this tab. Today. Oh, this is Christchurch. The same one. So we've got different ages. Some saying 8, some saying 9. That's what's throwing me off. Man in his 20s. Man aged in his 20s arrested. Women 50s arrested. So we get. There's an increase. Oh, the Superintendent Stuart Dipple. Oh, Superintendent Stuart Dipple. He says there's been an increased policing presence in the area as officers conduct inquiries. The cleaners have come in to conduct inquiries. They're not there for our protection anymore. They're not there for our protection. They're there to sweep up the dead bodies. That's all they're doing. That's all they're doing, ladies and gentlemen. They're coming in and they're just sweeping up after the crimes have already happened. They won't investigate burglaries. They won't investigate vandalism. They won't investigate anything else. They won't even bother coming after people in knife crime. They'll just come up with their broom and sweep up after all the death. Hang your head in shame. Right. I think that is enough of the stabbings. Let's remove that. Let's make sure I don't kill any tabs that I want to use later on. Victoria Road, of course it was in Govanhill. I should honestly, of course it was in Govanhill. Right. It's Edinburgh, Glasgow, all these cities. London being the epicenter for stabbings right across the UK. It's just ridiculous. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, tell me in the comments, are we at the critical mass when it comes to stabbings? Are we at the end of this? Of course. I think they're just going to increase and increase and increase. Well, until we stop the boats, until we stop the dinghies arriving on our shores. That's when the knife crime will come down. Yeah, you heard it from me first. Righty-ho. Right, what's next? The SNP continue with the reverse Midas touch. Scotrail disaster deepens. So it's a bit, what, we go from 111 on a volume scale to, oh, yeah, Scotrail's doing bad. See what I mean? I maybe should have paced or sort of parsed it out a bit. But this is the difference. Like, how can you possibly go and talk about all these, this huge, incredible number of stabbings? And it's sheer incredible the level of stabbings we've got here in the UK. And, you know, let's say just sorry, guys. So we always talk about America as well. We always talk about America. Oh, we can't have guns in Britain. Oh, we'd be shoot. There'd be shootings all the time. There'd be shootings all the time. We can't have guns. When actually, hold on a minute. Survival rates are very, very similar. Very similar indeed when it comes to gunshot wounds and stabbing victims. Very similar indeed. Would you rather be knifed or shot? And it truly takes a different person to be able to drive a knife into another person's flesh. Right, let's get off the story before I give myself a stroke. Right. Here we go. Let's share this one. Oh. Right. The reverse Midas touch happens with it. The SNP. Well, here we go. Back to the good old SNP. The reverse Midas touch. Everything that they touch, it doesn't turn to gold, ladies and gentlemen. It maybe turns everything they touch enriches themselves, but turns to utter shit. They've got the reverse Midas touch, and Scotrail's no different. Scotrail is no different at all. In fact, I think I maybe even have a picture of Nicola Sturgeon opening. No, I don't. No, I don't. Anyway, she opened it up on April 1st, 2022. That's when Scotrail was taken into public ownership. April 1st, April Fool's Day, just to punch you right in the face with their ridiculousness, to punch you right in the face. Oh, yeah, we're taking over Scotrail, SNP, the titans of industry, the captains of business. We're taking over Scotrail on April Fools. On April Fools. Hurrah! Hurrah! And who could have seen this coming? And who could have seen this coming? A blind man could have seen this coming. The extinct dodo bird could have seen this coming. Edinburgh Scotrail routes to see the return of super peak rail fares next month. Fantastic! Just when they said we're abolishing peak fares. Oh, we are the titans of in fact, we are the champions of the people, the SNP. We are the champions. We love the people so much. We are going to take Scotrail into public ownership, and we're going to make it almost free. We're going to make it so cheap that you wouldn't want to travel any other way. Oh well, what's happened? What's happened? Let's read the story. It's so utterly predictable, ladies and gentlemen. So utterly predictable. If you didn't see this coming, then I suggest you go to Specsavers. Oh, zing. The scheme was used to encourage more people to take the train rather than the car while making travelling more affordable. The cost of the full year subsidy was approximately £40 million. £40 million. They've absorbed. See, if you run a business and like, we're going to take it into public ownership. Can you give us the skinny on what the sort of what the ins and outs of the business is? What I suggest you keep peak fares, because if you don't, it's going to cost us about 40 million if we don't. Jeez. Right. The subsidy is 40 million. Scotrail will bring super peak fares. So we've went from we're going to take away peak fares, and now, you guessed it, super peak fares are now coming to routes including Edinburgh from September, which is just mere days away. SNP ministers will end the pilot on abolishing peak rail fares on September 27th, which will lead to massive price rises for Edinburgh to Glasgow services. Massive price rises. The scheme was used to encourage more people to take the train rather than the car, while making travel more affordable. The cost of the full year's subsidy was approximately 40 million. During the pilot scheme, now this is the kicker. This is the one. I've just been peppering you. I've just been jab. You want the haymaker? Boom! Right over the top. During listen to this. During the pilot scheme, an anytime day return ticket from Edinburgh to Glasgow is £12. Oh, that's quite cheap actually. From September 27th, this will jump to £31.40. £31.40 for a return to Glasgow to Edinburgh. Are you serious? No wonder nobody uses the trains. In fact, people still have to use the trains, but nobody. This is going to cause so many people a headache. This is honestly, I've got some vision boards above me. You know, the prices have been jacked. They slash the services. This is a war on the commuter, a war on the working person. This is like an extra tax you have to pay to get to and fro work. It's going to cost you an extra score, basically, an extra 20 quid to get back and forth. This is just ridiculous. And that's every single day. If you commute back and forth to Edinburgh every day, that'll cost you an extra £100 over the working week of 5 days. So that over a month, that's £400. This is a war on the commuter, a war on the worker. SNP, though, stronger for Scotland, ladies and gentlemen. Scotrail, Scotland's national rail. What a complete farce. Oh, as the record report, SNP Minister Fiona Hislop said it will not be extended again. Scottish Government has subsidised the temporary removal of Scotrail peak rail for 12 months in a move to encourage modal shift from private car to rail, while making rail more affordable and accessible. In the pilot period, the cost of the full year subsidy was approximately £40 million. So we obviously paid for that. We paid for that. You, me, everyone else, we all paid for that. We all paid for this experiment. We are still paying for this experiment, because it's just going to cost more money. Everything the SNP touches turns to shit. Everything they touch turns to absolute shit. The analysis shows that while there's been a limited increase in the number of passengers in the pilot, it did not achieve its aims of encouraging a significant modal shift from car to rail. Right, so let's talk about this for a second. Why? Why is it? It's not the government's job. It's not Scottish government job. It's not the Scottish government job to try and socially engineer modal shifts, transportation shifts from car to rail. And you know, I've travelled the length and breadth of the UK. The length and breadth. I'll get to John Watt's comment in a minute. But I've travelled the length and breadth of the UK by car. I go all around Scotland every week by car. See, if you travel in Scotland The only way you can conceivably get around is car. Why aren't we making cars more affordable? Why aren't we strengthening the road network? Why are we should be telling visitors and tourists that come to Scotland, take a car, rent a car. It's the only way you're going to get around. Every other way, they're going to be left with a sour taste in their mouth. Imagine you booked a train, cancelled. Booked the train, cancelled. Booked the train, cancelled. This is what's been happening all over Scotland all the time. Nobody knows what's happening. No, the trains are such a mess that they've tried to blame drivers. When they took it over in 2020 on April Fool's Day, that's when they should have said, how many drivers we got? Just say we've got 100 drivers, right? And that'll give us X amount of services. If they work the full working week. Right? So we need to be over and above that. Right? But no, they don't hire drivers. They don't put out a sort of a practice of hiring drivers day one, because they know that if they want to increase, listen to this, if they want to encourage a modal shift from car to rail, if they want to encourage a modal shift from car to rail, they have to provide more services. It's just as simple as that. It's not convenient enough. It's not convenient enough. But they don't see it that way. They're idiots. The reverse Midas touch turns again. It's ridiculous. If you are a tourist to Scotland, if you are coming to Scotland, just rent a car. Bring your car. It's the only way you'll get around. And by the way, it'll still be a total slog. The Edinburgh City bypass is the worst road on the planet. The Edinburgh City bypass steals our time, our precious time. They say time is money, don't they? That's a saying right round the world. Time is money. The Scottish government are stealing our time and therefore our money by not improving the Edinburgh City bypass, by not improving that. They added an extra bridge across the 34th. An extra bridge. But they don't use the other one. No, that's too sensible. They don't make it 3 lanes either side. They just go with 2 lanes again. It's not that it gets bottlenecked every rush hour it gets bottlenecked. They should be looking at freeing up the bottlenecks. The Edinburgh City bypass is a classic example. Every single day at the same places, it's absolutely rammed. If you're in Glasgow, it's rammed on the M8. After junction 16 on the 20 and that, it's rammed all the time. The M74, the M74 is not so bad. It's not so bad. I would maybe encourage people to use the M74 over the M8 if you can. If you're traveling about Glasgow, it'll save you 10, 15 minutes, likely. But it's just so ridiculous. The only way, really, to travel in Scotland efficiently, effectively, and on time, it's no public transport. It's certainly not Scotrail. It's by car, ladies and gentlemen. And we should be letting people know that. Anyway, we've got some funny pictures to go with this. Because we right, so bearing in mind, let's scroll up this article a bit. Remember this figure, ladies and gentlemen. 31.40, £31.40 to get back and forth for Edinburgh to Glasgow, which is, I don't know, a 40-minute car drive. 31.40. Right. Well, a return ticket to Gothenburg is £30. This is what we're looking up today. What can we get for 30 quid? Well, you can either go a return to Edinburgh to Glasgow, or you can get yourself on a wee plane and go to Gothenburg. You'll be there in an hour 45. Ah, Christ on a bike. Isn't this just absolutely outrageous? For cheaper than $31.40 for the price of getting back and forth to Glasgow, you can be in Gothenburg. Or Germany. £30. Look, it's in the basket. £30. Edinburgh to Dusseldorf, an hour 30. £30. And back again. And back again. Can you believe this? Scotrail is ripping customers off. Scotrail are absolutely ripping Scots off. The Scottish Government, the SNP, they have no... what's the word I'm looking for? They've no concept. They've no... come on, Niall, it'll come to you. What's the word? They've no concept of how much things cost. SNP ministers, they're not at their Waitrose picking up groceries and worrying about the price. No, they're not. They're on their 70 grand a year packages and their expenses and this, that, and other, and everything gets paid for them. They don't have any concept of what the price of anything is. They shouldn't. It should be working class people who are saying who should have been involved in this takeover of Scotrail. Do you not think? Do you not think it would? I reckon I could take over Scotrail and make it truly effective for Scots. You just need to double or triple the amount of services. We need to hire as many workers as possible. But you could cut so much crap out of the Scottish Government. So much savings could be made from the Scottish Government that we could triple the number of services, hire triple the amount of drivers, pay the drivers double, and still be fine, because there's that much wasted money in Scottish Government. It's unbelievable. And see, when you land on the Scotrail website, boom, that's what you're confronted with. When you, oh, yeah, Scotrail, want to book a ticket. Oh, boom, a big hazard. This is, what are we running here? What are we doing? And this is what happens when you visit Glasgow. You know, you're return to Edinburgh, Glasgow. No wonder footfall in Glasgow is at an all-time low. And we had this funny tweet as well. Let me take this off as well. Let's remove this. Let's remove this. Look at this funny tweet. Mark Nelson. This. I remember standing on the train from Glasgow to Edinburgh for the whole journey last week. Every toilet out of order. So knowing I could urinate myself at any point. People in tears. And my only thought was, hope they go back to charging more for this. I salute you, Scotrail. Tweeted yesterday. How absolutely correct this man is. It's just it's astounding just how criminal we treat commuters here in Scotland. These are the people who they're spending money everywhere along they go. Everywhere they go, they're spending money. Everywhere they go. Tell me in the comment. In fact, we'll get to the comments up. Let's get the comments. Right, so there was an attack. So maybe if Craig Houston did a video on the fact there was an attack in East Kilbride. I'll try to find it before we move on to another segment. Machete attack, East Kilbride. So why have we not heard about this? Why haven't we heard about this? John Watt is correct to point it out. Why haven't we heard about this? East Kilbride is just minutes away from where I used to stay in Hamilton. Minutes. Absolutely minutes. Machete attack horror as a man's hand severed in East Kilbride. Bloodbath. East Kilbride bloodbath. What is happening? Police are hunting again. Hunting for a knife maniac after attack unfolded in a quiet residential street in the Lanarkshire town. Look at this. Swarmed Winfield Gardens in East Kilbride. A man had his hand hacked in a horror machete attack, East Kilbride. Residents heard blood-curdling screams in the street after the bloodbath attack in Lanarkshire town on Wednesday, 31st, just last month. Armed officers swarmed the quiet estate after 2 men injured were found at 11 p.m. Resident who spoke anonymously. See, everyone speaks anonymously. This is the thing. Nobody wants to put their name to anything anymore. This is this fear. This is the terrorism that these attacks have. People are terrorized internally. They didn't want to speak openly about this. One blood-soaked victim was desperately holding onto his hand, which had been severed. They told her it was a horror attack. I heard blood-curdling screams and someone shouting for help. Then I saw 2 young men injured and appearing to be hiding whilst calling out for police. One man was holding his arm and was soaked in blood. His hand was barely attached. 5 police cars and armed officers turned up. Resident told how hero neighbours desperately tried to give first aid whilst emergency services arrived. They added the street was then filled with neighbours who ran out to help. Some were phoning for the police and ambulance, others were given first aid. There was blood everywhere. One of the men said to me, attacked with a machete. 2 men were taken away in an ambulance. The street had been cordoned off. Everyone here is very scared the attacker will come back. There you go. The victims were then rushed to Wishaw General. So Wishaw General is actually a bit away. It's a good 25 minutes for East Kilbride. Wishy. This is, again, it's SNP mismanagement. There should be another hospital closer than that to East Kilbride. It shouldn't be Wishaw General. It's just another example. I just want to point that out. Police are hunting the knife maniac. Spokesperson for the force said, about 1:05 Wednesday, we called to report an assault. Why was this not in the news? How come I didn't see this? And I'm sure Craig Houston was the one that sort of brought it to everyone's attention. Right, let's get that away. Let's get that one away. I'm done with the machete attacks. I'm done with the knife attacks. I'm done with it all. We know that these are happening in order to make us all afraid. Right. Oh, right. Let's go back to Scotrail just for a second. Analysis shows that there's been a limited increase in number of passengers. Did we do all this? Yeah, I think we've done all this. Right. So let's remove that. Right, so we're moving on. Moving on. We've covered this, the brutality, the usual suspects. Lawless Britain. I mean, tell me in the comments. Again, you're probably going to agree with me. Britain is getting close to absolute, utter societal decline. And there can be no other phrase for it. We are in, it's like the end of the empire. It's like, I feel like I'm going to be like Nero. I'm going to get a fiddle out. I'm just going to be fiddling as everything burns. It really is getting like that. It's just every other day there's a knife attack. Every other day there's a mass stabbing. Every other day it just gets worse and worse. Worse and worse. Oh, righty-ho. Right, now we are moving on to another story. A wee bit of a hilarious story. Just because, in fact, I've just got an idea. I've got an idea. Even when we're talking about the police and the fact that they're basically just sweep-up artists, they're glorified cleaners at this point, aren't they? They just come along after crimes have been committed, sweep up the bodies, and say, yeah, we attended, we swept up, bye-bye. Bye-bye. And off they go in their wee cars. Well, let's look at the police and just how captured the police are by this rainbow ideology, this disgusting, despicable, outlandish, outrageous, sort of nausea-inducing LGBTQ plus pedo Satan propaganda. This shouldn't be anywhere near any institution, near any school, near any hospital, near any public service of any kind. And yet, look at this.
So as the Chief Constable, it's for me to unreservedly apologise for the hurt and damage historically caused by North Yorkshire Police to our LGBTQ plus communities.
We've got an active LGBTQ plus network within our force, which supports colleagues to be themselves in the workplace and also provides support and engagement with our communities. We've taken part in local pride marches for a number of years right across the county in York, Harrogate and Scarborough and Skipton as well. And we know that this is welcomed by the organisers and by participants as well. And it's really important that we're visible as an organisation to all our communities. It's an opportunity for us to demonstrate to our work colleagues as well that we welcome them, bringing the whole of themselves into the workplace, and that we're a fully inclusive organisation now.
Oh, we're fully inclusive. Oh, yes. We know that knife attacks are up. We know that people are afraid to walk the streets. We know. But we are an inclusive force. This video, these officers should be better on the streets than talking this nonsense about LGBTQ plus PS, pedo Satan stuff. They should not be talking about it. It shouldn't be anywhere near any of the forces. Nothing like this. And yet it goes to show just how bad our police are, just how captured our police are. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And again, I've got another one. This is a historic video, but it shows you just how far back. And just to put this in sort of context, right? We've had, I think it was 19 Afghani women, right? 19 Afghani women arriving in Scotland today. Today, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Because the Taliban are saying, you are not allowed to study. You're a woman. You are a woman. Education is not for you. See, education is not for you. We are Taliban. So what do? They land in Scotland to have their education here. And it shows you how tolerant Islam is. You know, don't even allow women to be educated. Right? Just how tolerant Islam is. But then look at this. Look at this.
In 2008, an 11-year-old girl came to the attention of the police after she disclosed that she and another child had been sexually abused by a group of adult males. Just a few weeks later, she was found in a derelict house with another child and a number of adult males. Yet she was arrested, 11 years of age, she was arrested for being drunk and disorderly, and none of the males were arrested. Has your force identified the police officers involved in that and found out what went on?
So before they play the rest of it, this guy should be in jail himself. See if you turn up to a derelict house and there's a wee lassie that's clearly being raped, being passed around by Asian grooming gangs. You don't arrest the woman, the wee girl. No. You round them up and you arrest all of them. Oh, but that's not what the police do. No, 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 no. Because we are tolerant. We are tolerant here in Britain. We are tolerant. We just arrest the wee lassies instead. We just let Islam, because we're a tolerant nation. We allow Islam in. Even though Islam's not very tolerant, is it? Or so we're led to believe. Let's watch it, the full video.
In 2008, an 11-year-old girl came to the attention of the police after she disclosed that she and another child had been sexually abused by a group of adult males. Just a few weeks later, she was found in a derelict house with another child and a number of adult males. Yet she was arrested, 11 years of age, she was arrested for being drunk and disorderly, and none of the males were arrested. Has your force identified the police officers involved in that and found out what went on?
I don't know.
Okay.
Don't know.
Police officer dismissed the case of a 12-year-old girl who'd been having sex with up to 5 Asian males because he said she had been, quote, 100% consensual in every incident. 12 years of age? I think that's unbelievable, to be honest. Have you identified who that officer was and found out what happened there?
Can I? Well,
Look, we're going to have to watch this multiple times for it to sink in here. We're going to have to watch this multiple times for this to sink in. Because this is what's been allowed to happen to our country. We import this tolerant religion en masse, and it is anything but tolerant towards Britain. It's anything but tolerant towards Christianity. It's anything but tolerant. I'm expecting a knock at the door now. Knock, knock. Police Scotland. Police CS Alba, here to see you, Niall. No. It just gets to the point, it just gets to the time where you're supposed to call it, isn't it? That we are supposed to be tolerant as individuals, as a country, but yet we allow this intolerance to take place, this intolerance of anything else, of women getting an education. And yet we're supposed to be tolerant of children being raped. Oh yeah, we're tolerant. Right, let's try and watch the full video, guys. And it's the first guy, the first chief inspector, he may as well be Mr. Bean.
In 2008, an 11-year-old girl came to the attention of the police after she disclosed that she and another child had been sexually abused by a group of adult males. Just a few weeks later, she was found in a derelict house with another child and a number of adult males. Yet she was arrested, 11 years of age, she was arrested for being drunk and disorderly, and none of the males were arrested. Has your force identified the police officers involved in that and found out what went on?
I don't know.
Okay.
Don't know.
Police officer dismissed the case of a 12-year-old girl who'd been having sex with up to 5 Asian males because he said she had been, quote, 100% consensual in every incident. 12 years of age?
I just have to come back to this. I'm sorry, we will get through the video eventually. But this is clear-cut rape. Didn't care if the 12-year-old consented. It's rape. It's underage sex. It's rape. And five Asian males. 5 Asian males. Oh, yep, she consented to everything. What a disgrace we are. What a disgrace we are, honestly. What a disgrace this police force is. What an utter disgrace. This guy deserves a big, huge boot right in the balls.
In 2008, an 11-year-old girl came to the attention of the police after she disclosed that she and another child had been sexually abused by a group of adult males. Just a few weeks later, she was found in a derelict house with another child and a number of adult males. Yet she was arrested, 11 years of age, she was arrested for being drunk and disorderly, and none of the males were arrested. Has your force identified the police officers involved in that and found out what went on?
I don't know.
Okay.
Don't know.
Police officer dismissed the case of a 12-year-old girl who'd been having sex with up to 5 Asian males because he said she had been, quote, 100% consensual in every incident. 12 years of age? I think that's unbelievable, to be honest. Have you identified who that officer was and found out what happened there?
Can I just make one thing clear? That I've said today that we must have an independent investigation team to come back at this. I have also personally spoken to the Director of Investigations
if a report,
at the IPCC.
Sorry, Mr. Austin, could the Chief Constable just finish? Please finish.
I've also personally spoken to the Director of Investigations at the IPCC and in order to involve them in this as well.
Fathers had tracked down their daughters and tried to remove them from houses where they were being abused, only to find themselves arrested when police were called to the scene. Do you know what happened in that case?
Chair, I don't seek to defend any of this, and that I've asked for I'm in the process of setting up an independent investigation because the number of staff at Rotherham over such a period of time means that it can't have credibility unless we have some independence to the investigative process. One
of your officers decided that a 12-year-old girl was having sex with up to 5 adults and was 100% consenting in every incident. Should somebody like that be working for the police? So, I mean, somebody's capable of making a decision like that?
No, it's a dreadful decision. No. And I've set my position out to find out about it.
I think in order to... I don't know what I'd take to again, but we might have to watch it again. It's so jaw-droppingly horrendous. It's disgusting. And he says it right there, the chief superintendent. Should a person like that be working for the police? If you show up to a derelict house and there's a 12-year-old girl and there's 5 Asian males and they're saying that everything's consensual sex, it's consensual sex, that they're basically passing her around, raping her. And the fathers of the daughters who then came to try and rescue their daughters were then arrested. Do you not think the police are working against the British public? Working against the British public and for the Asian grooming gangs? Or the Islamic grooming gangs? No? This is why people like Tommy Robinson exist, ladies and gentlemen. Because of this. You can't see an injustice like this and just sit back and do nothing. Right, one more time for all the new viewers. One more time. I swear it's the last. But just, it's so disgusting.
In 2008, an 11-year-old girl came to the attention of the police after she disclosed that she and another child had been sexually abused by a group of adult males. Just a few weeks later, she was found in a derelict house with another child and a number of adult males. Yet she was arrested, 11 years of age, she was arrested for being drunk and disorderly, and none of the males were arrested. Has your force identified the police officers involved in that and found out what went on?
I don't know.
Okay.
Don't know.
Police officer dismissed the case of a 12-year-old girl who'd been having sex with up to 5 Asian males because he said she had been, quote, 100% consensual in every incident. 12 years of age? I think that's unbelievable, to be honest. Have you identified who that officer was and found out what happened there?
Can I just make one thing clear? That I've said today that we must have an independent investigation team to come back at this. I have also personally spoken to the Director of Investigations
if a report,
at the IPCC.
Sorry, Mr. Austin, could the Chief Constable just finish? Please finish.
I've also personally spoken to the Director of Investigations at the IPCC and in order to involve them in this as well.
Fathers had tracked down their daughters and tried to remove them from houses where they were being abused, only to find themselves arrested when police were called to the scene. Do you know what happened in that case?
Chair, I don't seek to defend any of this, and that I've asked for I'm in the process of setting up an independent investigation because the number of staff at Rotherham over such a period of time means that it can't have credibility unless we have some independence to the investigative process.
One of your officers decided that a 12-year-old girl was having sex with up to 5 adults and was 100% consenting in every incident. Should somebody like that be working for the police? So, I mean,
No.
somebody's capable
No.
of making a decision like that?
No, it's a dreadful decision, and I've set my position out to find out about it.
Now you can breathe. It's over. I will not show it again. It's over. It's over. But again, just listen to that. Listen to that. Fathers who tracked down their daughters to where they were being abused, and the fathers were arrested. If that's not a two-tier policing system, I don't know what the hell is. And Keir Starmer has just solidified that over the last since he's became put in office. Righty ho. That will end the Lawless Britain segment. Finally, we've done Scotrail, we've done the Lawless Britain segment, and now we're on to the sort of I was about to say the funnier stories, but we've got a funny story, but the other one is anything but funny. Angus Robertson. Angus Robertson. Angus the Smiler Robertson. So he, what does he do? He has a wee lunch with the Israelis. Oh, because the SNP are just so good at running Scotland that they're experts at running Scotland at this point. In fact, they're experts at everything they do, and they're not at all incompetent. They're not at all incompetent, but they think, in their infinite wisdom, that they think we may as well try to solve the issue in the Middle East. We may as well try and solve the Gaza-Israeli problem. What a complete and utter joke the SNP are. What a complete farce. Angus the Smiler Robertson. Listen to this. So immediately, Robertson gets pictured with one of the Israeli diplomats, shaking her hand. What happens? All the Greens, all the SNP, all the people who vote for the SNP, all the people who like the SNP. How dare you shake hands with a Jew? How dare you shake hands with a genocidal maniac? That's what they're all saying. It's just insane. Listen to this interview. And the excuses are just, it's right out of a children's toy book. It's just ridiculous. I didn't smile once. I really didn't enjoy myself. Aye, all right, Angus.
You will find no photograph of me where I am smiling about meeting with the Israelis. I did not smile because it was not a meeting about delivering a message that involved a smile. It was a meeting primarily from our point of view to deliver an outspoken message in opposition to what Israel is doing in Gaza. At the same time, yes, to hear concerns around anti-Semitism in Scotland, and we do need to listen to those. The fact that other issues were raised in the meeting has created an impression that there is a normalisation of relations between Scotland and Israel. There is not. That an impression is being created like that. I'm deeply sorry for that, and we need to reflect on how that happened. But from a Scottish Government point of view, let there be absolutely no doubt. We have delivered an unambiguous message to the Israelis in opposition to what is happening in Gaza. They heard it loud and clear, and we will not be meeting them until there is substantive progress towards a ceasefire and an improvement on the conditions of the poor people of Gaza. I think it was right to deliver a message about what Israel is doing in Gaza is wrong. The fact that there should be a ceasefire, the fact that humanitarian aid should get in, and that hostages should be released. But this message has now been delivered to the Israelis, and we will not be meeting until there has been substantive progress on all of these unresolved and terrible issues for people in Gaza.
So, I mean, this is pathetic on so many fronts. And I've now branded Angus Robertson as the most pathetic man in Scotland. First of all, Scotland shouldn't be having any meetings like this. This should be a United Kingdom effort. A United Kingdom diplomat should have been at this meeting or doing the meeting. It shouldn't be Angus Robertson. It shouldn't be John Swinney. It shouldn't be Humza Useless and his wife. They shouldn't be getting involved in any of these geopolitical issues. Not at all. Scotland isn't a country. The United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland is. We shouldn't be getting involved in anything like this, unless it's in conjunction with the United Kingdom. We just shouldn't. And yet we'll play it again, just to drive home just how pathetic this guy is. And believe me, this guy is the most pathetic person in Scotland. Angus Robertson, Angus the Smiler Robertson, is the most pathetic man in Scotland. He is absolutely ridiculous. I need to come up with more. I need to get more vocabulary. More robust.
You will find no photograph of me where I am smiling about meeting with the Israelis. I did not smile because it was not a meeting about delivering a message that involved a smile. It was a meeting primarily from our point of view to deliver an outspoken message in opposition to what Israel is doing in Gaza. At the same time, yes, to hear concerns around anti-Semitism in Scotland, and we do need to listen to those. The fact that other issues were raised in the meeting has created an impression that there is a normalisation of relations between Scotland and Israel. There is not. That an impression is being created like that. I'm deeply sorry for that, and we need to reflect on how that happened. But from a Scottish Government point of view, let there be absolutely no doubt. We have delivered an unambiguous message to the Israelis in opposition to what is happening in Gaza. They heard it loud and clear, and we will not be meeting them until there is substantive progress towards a ceasefire and an improvement on the conditions of the poor people of Gaza. I think it was right to deliver a message about what Israel is doing in Gaza is wrong. The fact that there should be a ceasefire, the fact that humanitarian aid should get in, and that hostages should be released. But this message has now been delivered to the Israelis, and we will not be meeting until there has been substantive progress on all of these unresolved.
It's just madness. It's just madness. Oh, we, Scotland, will not be meeting with them until there is any movement. Scotland, we shouldn't be meeting with them at all. A United Kingdom diplomat should be meeting this person. Why has Angus Robertson wasted his time meeting this person? Why has Humza Yousaf wasted his time meeting people like this? Why is the Scottish Government even doing anything of this nature? It is so ridiculous. It's useless. What are we going to do? What's Scotland going to do? No, it's another chance for Angus Robertson to put his beady eyes and his daft, massive nose into places that he shouldn't be. Angus Robertson, who flies around Europe on our money. Pretend embassies. Pretend embassies. They're not embassies. Scotland isn't a country. The United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland is. Angus, the most pathetic man in Scotland. Angus the Smiler Robertson. Honestly, I didn't smile once. The lunch was good. The lunch was good. I didn't smile once. Right. It's just petty. It's shameful. It's childish. It's ridiculous. The guy shouldn't be anywhere near any meetings like this. He's got no power in the region. He's got no power to do anything about it. What is he seeking to accomplish? Other than looking sort of like he can do things. Pardon me. Because in reality, Angus Robertson, he can't affect any change here. And yet he comes in and says, we want the hostages released. We want a ceasefire. We want an end to the death. Obviously, as if it took, as obviously, we want an end to the death. Obviously, we want the hostages released. Anyone who has a brain, anyone that isn't a psychopath wants a ceasefire, wants peace in the region. It didn't need to meet these people. It wasn't enough to phone them. He had to get them all the way out of Scotland. What a total joke. This guy. He honestly is. He's one of Scotland's biggest leeches. He leeches so much money off the taxpayer. It's insane. You know, if we were to cancel his wee budgets and that, we could increase the Scotrail services. We could have more drivers on Scotrail. We could try to influence a change in modal shift from car to rail. If it wasn't for this guy, we could take all his expenses and money and drive it right into Scotrail. That's what I would do if I was First Minister. I think there is some competition for the most pathetic gnat in Scotland. Oh, there is. Sarah Fairweather. Oh, I mean, this has got to put him in pole position, though, right, Sarah? This has got to put him right there in pole position, right next to Lewis Hamilton on the gridlock. Right. Right, well, that was the funny story of the way. And now on to a less funny story. Drug deaths. So the drug deaths figures came out. To memory, it was 1,172 deaths, which is 3.2 people a day succumbing to addiction here in Scotland. And let's see what our Health Secretary has got to say about it.
I am offering hope because I believe that the investments that we're making, the programmes that we're committed to, are the right ones.
Forgive me again, Minister, sorry. 5 years ago, your government declared this a public health emergency. 5 years ago, you set up a drug death task force. There's still 1,172 people have died, leaving behind them a trail of grief. And you're standing here telling me that you've got hope and you've got the answers.
I believe that there is hope there.
Where is this hope?
So I believe that the programmes that we are expanding on residential rehab will make a difference.
To know how many you need to expand it by, you have to know how many people need it. Do you have any idea how many problematic drug users there are right now in need of rehab?
So we are recognising that there is a need. We are supporting an expansion.
Minister, I'm asking a question about a number here. How many people in Scotland have you identified might be in need of long-term residential rehab for their drug addiction?
So again, this is a complex picture.
You've got no idea how many people are using drugs in Scotland anymore. Is that not the case? You don't know?
Well, by its nature, that's good. That is a complex picture to be able to ascertain.
Let me simplify it. How many people are currently in the methadone programme in Scotland?
So this is an incredibly serious area.
And that's why I'm asking these serious questions, Minister. You don't know. People who are asking for access to rehab are being given methadone.
No, that's not the case.
Well, hang on a second. You said that's not the case.
No,
let me introduce you to Stacey. This is Stacey, who lives in Shettleston.
I don't make the same mistakes that I've done.
You're
trying to get into rehab just now?
I'm crying. Again.
What have you been told?
Just keep saying to me, I'll put you up another 10mm, put you up another 10mm, and that's what she keeps on doing. Put me up and put me up and put me up.
So you're asking for rehab, but you're getting more methadone?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's helping you?
Nope. And methadone only helps for smack.
But it's not heroin that you're taking, it's cocaine?
No, it's cocaine.
Is this now the single biggest policy failure and the deadliest since devolution?
So I accept that the situation that we are facing in terms of drug dependency deaths is hugely concerning. It's more than that. It is a tragedy.
No. It's simply incredible, ladies and gentlemen. And sorry, you've caught me smoking. I don't care. I've just lost. I've lost all care. I don't care anymore. I don't care. And Sarah Fairweather, she just nails it again. The only tried and tested method, the only tried and tested true method of defeating drug addiction is a 12-step program. Way back when. The same program that Alcoholics Anonymous uses. Abstinence. The only option for recovery is abstinence. The only option to recovery. That is so utterly true. It's the only option, ladies and gentlemen. And yet, incredibly, somebody's got a cocaine addiction in Scotland. They go to their GP, they try to get help, and they get given methadone. Only in Scotland could you have such scandalous activities like this. Only in Scotland could you have such idiocy, such blatant disregard for somebody's health and well-being. Only in Scotland could you receive such barbaric treatment for your addiction. Only in Scotland could this occur. Only in Scotland. It's an absolute disgrace. And this practice of giving out methadone needs to end. It needs to end. We are sending Scots to an early grave with this. The Honey Monster says, anyone taking bets that someone making policy at the SNP has shares in a company that makes methadone. And there you have it. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The truth. I knew pharmacists. You know, I've had friends from the entire spectrum. I know millionaires, I know paupers, I can talk to homeless people in the street. The pharmacist that I knew used to have multiple locations in Edinburgh. I think he had 12 or 15 pharmacies across Scotland. And just one pharmacy alone, he was making £250,000 on methadone. £250,000. You see what I'm saying? Do you understand the problem here? It's the vested interest. It's the cost that people will incur by taking this methadone out. It's the right thing that methadone comes out. It's absolutely the right thing. But pharmacies are making too much money. That will never happen. There's too much money involved. They don't care if the person's going to die. They'll just prescribe it anyway. Sarah, you've been great with the comments tonight. We'll keep you up as long as possible. Serious drug addiction is an unpleasant way of life, generally caused by issues from childhood. These issues cannot be addressed until the person is clean and starts talking about methadone stops recovery. Absolutely. And let's just delve into this comment a wee bit as well. Because it was Anne-Marie Ward that enlightened me to just what's causing this problem here in Scotland. Maybe I've got a cigarette addiction, I don't care. At least it's not. At least I'm not on methadone. Right. Generally caused by issues from childhood. Isn't that true? Isn't that true? Right. I'll see if I can bring it up. Let's see if I can find it. Because that comment is right on the money. Anne-Marie Ward. Let's look for a video. Right, here we go. Let's share this tab. Let's open it up.
Scotland, opiates and opioids such as heroin, morphine, methadone were the most common drugs connected to deaths in 80% of cases. But why Scotland? Let's talk to Anne-Marie Ward now, who's the CEO of Faces and Voices of Recovery UK, based in Glasgow. Anne-Marie, a very good evening to you. I know you heard my talk up there. I do think there's such a lack of understanding from people who don't have an addictive bent or personality when we look at those who do and who get sucked into this world.
Yeah, I think there is definitely a lack of understanding about addiction and its consequences. And I think it's hard for somebody to put themselves in those shoes, you know, and that's okay. We all don't get to experience, you know, everything in life. And addiction is something that you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy. You know, it's an endless loop of despair and dependence. So I think it's maybe more useful to talk about and educate people about recovery, though, Petri. So I don't know if you want to sort of take the conversation in that direction as well as to talk about addiction.
What I want to do is to understand, and I'm guessing that there are many, as many different reasons as there are addicts, as to why and how this happens, and what the difference is between somebody who is addicted to drugs and somebody who does not get addicted to things. I think that's where I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, and I think we know from the research that you're more likely to become addicted if you have what they call 5 or more ACE scores. Now, an ACE score is an adverse childhood experience that can include anything from you know, sexual abuse, physical abuse, your parents being divorced, any trauma in childhood. So the research actually tells us that 72% of injecting drug users in Scotland, this was some research that was done in 2012, showed us that those injecting drug users had 5 or more adverse childhood experiences. So quite often, most people who become addicted, particularly to hard drugs, are very, very traumatised. That's not to say everyone who becomes addicted is traumatised, but it's important to make that...
Right. Isn't that enlightening? So Anne-Marie Ward is probably the voice of reason when it comes to drug addiction here in Scotland, and more broadly, just in drug addiction in general. But Anne-Marie Ward here is trying to tell us the truth here. Why are so many people addicted to drugs in Scotland? Why? Why? It's because there is such a high prevalence of child sexual abuse here in Scotland. That's what it is. That's what that's where all this drug abuse stems from. You see, did you not hear the stat there? 72%, 71% of addicts, injecting drug addicts, have ACE scores, and we don't even just brand it child abuse. We have to give them anagrams. ACE. We have to give them anagrams for people to digest it, because they can't take the truth. We have to get tidbits of the truth sprinkled every here and there before we actually understand the root cause of why there's so many addicts here in Scotland. It's because there's such a prevalence, such a prevalence of child sexual abuse here in Scotland. It's That's why I put it to you, the viewer, and we've got over 500 people watching right now, that Scotland's drug problem, that Scotland is the highest in Europe for drug deaths, is because we have the highest rate of child sexual abuse. It stands to reason that that's why we have such huge levels of drug abuse. It's because we've got such a high prevalence of paedophilia, such a high prevalence of child sexual abuse. And you just know, I guarantee you that these victims that we just showed earlier on the show, we showed this, the Rotherham police chief, these girls, a lot of them will go on to be drug addicts. You know why? Do you know why, ladies and gentlemen? But she might even mention it later on in the interview. We'll watch the rest of the interview once I've finished here. But what these addicts are trying to do, these people who have been child sexually abused, they've been abused as a child, they've been taken advantage of, they've been corrupted. These people are then doing something that Anne-Marie calls obliviation. They're using drugs to obliviate, which is another technical term that people like to use. They're trying to outrun a memory, ladies and gentlemen. That is what's happening here. And that's the truth. And you won't get any closer to the truth than that. Scotland's drug problem. See, if I was First Minister, day one, I'm going after all the paedophile rings. Because if I do that correctly, if I was to crush all the paedophile rings in Scotland, if I was to make Scotland free of child sexual abuse, which will happen one day. It will happen one day, ladies and gentlemen. We will be free of this scourge. But day one, if you were to crush the child sexual abuse rings, our drug deaths would plummet. Our drug deaths would plummet in a generation. They would come down to basically nil. And you'll not get any closer to the truth than that. Let's Honey Monster makes if that is the cause and the prevalence is that high, then maybe I should take my words back. I'm having trouble believing it is that high, to be honest. Well, drugs make people feel good. It's not complicated. The thing is, Honey Monster, see the people who, and you know, it might be correct. You know, see the recreational drug user on a Friday night, Saturday night out at the pub, and they sniff a line of Charlie in order to keep drinking. It's not the same as someone injecting heroin. Would you agree with that, Honey Monster? These people are injecting heroin and injecting, and most, she would say that injecting drug users, the ACE scores are 5 or more, which means they've got a really bad, bad ACE score, adverse childhood experience. That's how we term it. We don't just say that this child's been abused sexually. This, you know, we just don't say that. Thanks, Honey Monster. Right. And this is, you know, let's watch the rest of the interview before we go back to Neil Bray.
Childhood experience becomes addictive, right?
Yeah. But it is a generalisation worth helping people understand, because I think, you know, my friend has recently set up a charity that helps cats in Cyprus. Sorry, it's not in Cyprus, it's in another Greek island. And she's been overwhelmed with support, you know. And of course,
just going to pause this to now. Anne-Marie Ward is here. If you don't already, give her a follow. If you don't already, if you have any, I don't know why increase Anne-Marie's workload here, but if you're struggling with drug addiction, there is no one better to help you than Anne-Marie. And yes, you did. You popped up right at the best time. And I hope you don't mind me using your videos, Anne-Marie. I really don't. Or the interviews. I just think that when it comes to the drug crisis in Scotland, it's everyone's turning to you because it seems like no one else is giving us the real story here. No one else is actually telling us. They're all the Neil Grays of the world. They want to just paper over the cracks and say, "Oh, there's hope in there." Can you believe that, Anne-Marie? Can you believe that? The guy's actually saying, there's hope in the figures. There's hope in there. What a disgrace that man is. What a disgrace. And I hope I'm no running ramshackle over this drug addiction thing, Anne-Marie. I have worked in addiction a fair amount. And I feel like I've given myself a wee bit of credence to talk about it. It's just incredible to think that we've had this battle for so long, Anne-Marie. It's endless, and yet nothing seems to be done. Everyone is pointing us and saying, "No, actually, we need to do this. We need rehab beds." Rehab beds. As you've said previously, Anne-Marie, poor people get methadone, rich people get rehab beds. And that seems to be par for the course in Scotland, isn't it? Par for the course. Right, let's watch the rest of the interview.
Of course, if you live in the UK and you're a pet lover, you can donate to that charity and many charities around pets. And we're very sympathetic to that. And I think because people believe that there's an element of choice in addiction, and there is in the beginning, people choose to use drugs, but the reasons for choosing to use drugs are often about that trauma or the need for oblivion, the need for escape. And actually, when we set up this charity, and many addiction charities really struggle to raise donations or to get that sympathetic response, because most people do think it's people are making a choice, or they may make moral judgments about it. But as soon as dependency is at play, really the choice is taken away, especially if there's a physical dependency. If you are addicted to alcohol, for instance, or some of the current street drugs that are infiltrating, for the most part, our poorest communities here in the UK, that physical dependency, if you are not medically detoxed, can kill you. So the physical dependency is a very real thing, and there's no choice when it comes to, by the time we get to that stage, addiction is not a choice.
And I think it's very difficult, though, to persuade people that it isn't a choice, isn't it? I mean, I have a brother who's an alcoholic, and severely ill now because of it. But it is very difficult to persuade people that it isn't a choice, because you are putting it into your own body. You're going out of your way to access something, and then you're taking it. Because I don't think we understand dependency.
That's right. And it's actually very difficult to convince the addict themselves.
Oh, yeah.
So we did a barriers to treatment analysis, a meta-analysis, in fact, where we looked at all the research across the world that tried to highlight why people don't come forward for treatment. And the top barrier was denial. So this is the only condition, the only illness that'll tell you you don't have it.
Yeah.
So most alcoholics and addicts will think that they're not that bad.
Oh no, my brother was like, "No, I'm not an alcoholic." But then eventually he'd say, "I'm not an alcoholic, but I am alcohol dependent." I was like, "Well, what's the difference?" But look, we've established, right, that there's this ACE, this adverse childhood experience. Makes complete sense to me. That the trauma would lead to somebody wanting to seek oblivion. But why Scotland more than England and Wales? And in fact...
Right. That's an interesting question. So I'll wait for Anne-Marie's answer on that. But it's my position, Niall Fraser's position, that because it would stand to reason to me that because we've got such a high level of drug deaths here in Scotland, that it would therefore mean that we've got such a high level as in compared to England, Wales, and other parts of the UK, a higher rate of child sexual abuse. Now let's hear Anne-Marie's answer.
Most of the rest of Europe. Why Scotland?
I think it's the big difference in Scotland is our treatment system is very different to the English and Welsh treatment system.
Okay, interesting. In what way?
So let me tell you. So the main difference in Scotland is that our addiction services come through the public sector, whereas in England they come through the third sector. Now that's important because in Scotland it's mainly nurses and social workers who you will deal with when you come forward for treatment. Now these are very kind, compassionate, professionalised people, but they don't know how to help us recover, right? Whereas in England, in the third sector, they're more fleet of foot. So you can be seen that day. You can walk into a service that day. And not only that, over 50% of the workforce in England are people in recovery. What does that mean? It means there's a culture of hope within the addiction services. So you're walking into a service in Scotland, because it's coming through the public service, either, the NHS or the local council, it's unlikely that you're going to get an appointment within 3 weeks. It could be months before you get an appointment. Whereas in England, you can walk in that day, and not everywhere in England, but for the most part, you can be seen that day, and you will probably be met by someone like me who has recovered. So you will be met with hope. You will be met with, and hope is priceless. By the way, never underestimate the power of hope. But you'll be met by people who have transformed their own lives, and transformed people transform people, And I think there's a level of, kidology that recovered people don't engage in with people who are currently suffering from addiction, that perhaps professional guidelines around, being a social worker or a nurse, they've got certain standards that they have to adhere to, and they really can't challenge in the same way. For instance, you can't kid a kidder, as we say in Scotland.
Yeah.
We really challenge other addicts and alcoholics and call them out.
Yeah.
So we would like to see the development of recovery standards, whereas these are our standards for our profession. We would like to see our profession, recovery experts being more.
It seems that then there's to me, from what you're saying, almost a political acceptance that there will be more deaths in Scotland through drug misuse, because if you're not prepared to see a system that is working better just a couple of miles down the road and adopt that system, then that feels almost deliberate.
I think there's another thing going on in Scotland as well that isn't going on in England and Wales. We have these quangos. So these are policy actor organisations. There's 5 in the addiction, alcohol and drug sector. They currently cost the Scottish taxpayer about £20 million, and between them they have about 200 staff who are not frontline services.
Isn't that astounding? Isn't that astounding? Another example of SNP incompetence. First of all, let's dissect what Anne-Marie's telling us there. She's telling us there's a huge difference in the way we tackle it here in Scotland and elsewhere in the UK. Obviously, if the public sector is doing it in Scotland, that means that the SNP and their incompetence, their incompetent fingers are all over it. They're all over it. They don't know what they're doing. It's almost like they want people to die at this rate. The quangocracy. And it's costing us 20 million a year. Again, that's just another example of SNP corruption, ladies and gentlemen. It's corruption. Down and dirty corruption. There'll be friends in high places, people getting paid 6-figure salaries to sit around tables and talk about addicts and talk, we need to change the words how we describe addicts here in Scotland. It's contributing to a negative effect, and just a lot of talking, a lot of nonsense, a lot of nothing, and all our money, all our tax money getting spent on nothing. when it should be going to rehab beds and community therapies and just grassroots advertising. We could be using all this money yearly. And of course, the honey monster comes to my aid. The honey monster comes to my aid. Hamza's brother-in-law gets him hooked and then writes a policy on treatment. If you didn't know this story before, ladies and gentlemen, it came to light. Let's just bring it up. We'll remove this for the time being. And we'll get Hamza, brother-in-law, heroin. Let's share this tab instead. Let's share this tab instead. And then we'll go back to Anne-Marie's. Oh, what does that say? What is it? Oh, First Minister's Hamza Yousaf's brother-in-law has been charged in connection with alleged drug offences. Ramzi El Nakwa, the brother of Mr. Yousaf's wife's Nadia El Nakwa, arrested after a break-in. What was accused of dealing heroin? The First Minister's brother-in-law? Accused of selling heroin worth more than £6,000? Are you serious? Are you serious? Hamza Yousaf's brother-in-law accused of dealing heroin as First Minister breaks silence? Accused of selling heroin more than £6,000? The First Minister of Scotland at the time, he's gone now, thank God. Thank God he's gone. I like to think I played my part in that. But Honey Monster's got it in one. How can it's so laughable? It's right in your face. We're getting punched in the face with this hypocrisy every day. Boom, 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 boom. You're getting this rammed down your throat every day. And yet, the Hamza Yousaf's brother-in-law, when he was the First Minister, accused of dealing heroin. And Nadia El Nakwa, what's her position? What's her position? Born in Dundee, blah, blah, blah. I'm pretty sure that she was the drug czar. I'm pretty sure that she had a position in Dundee City Council about drugs. Let me just try to find that. Nadia El Nakwa, Dundee Council, drugs. And here she is. And here she is, ladies and gentlemen. Oh no, unlimited access for £1. I don't want unlimited access. I don't want it. I know the impact of addiction has on families. 38 people lost to drugs last year in Dundee were part of us. Part of us, she says. When her brother, Hamza Yousaf's brother-in-law, oh, they're a part of us, all right, because we're selling them heroin. Accused of selling heroin worth more than £6,000. Are you starting to see just how ridiculous, just how corrupt Scotland is? When her First Minister, his wife, her brother is accused of pushing somebody out a window, didn't he, though? And he's accused of selling heroin. Oh, but Nadia El Nakwa, out of the side of her mouth, is saying, I know impact addiction has on families. 38 people who lost to drugs last year were part of us. She's saying that out of the side of her mouth, while her brother is up to all sorts of no good. Can you believe this? It's just simply incredible. It's simply incredible. So the brother-in-law was supplying another dealer down the chain. That certainly looks that way, Honey Monster, doesn't it? Anyway, we digress away from Anne-Marie Ward and her insights into how to tackle it. It just had to, when we get these connections, Dundee, 38 people lost to drugs. Nadia El Nakwa is on the council. I want to find her exact position. It doesn't tell me on. It doesn't tell me on Wikipedia. It doesn't tell me there. A qualified psychotherapist. Ooh. Experience working with addiction, anxiety, depression. So Nadia El Nakwa has experience working with addiction, and yet her brother is accused of dealing. Her brother is accused of dealing heroin worth more than £6,000. Huh. Scotland is just, it's unintentionally the most, it's not, I want to use the word hilarious, but it isn't, it's unintentionally tragic. That's what it is. It's no hilarious, it's no funny. Of course, it's staggering hypocrisy. It's we've got these clowns. It's like the endless clown show. These people, they show up in our politics wearing masks, talking out the side of their mouth about addiction and people struggling, and these 38 people in Dundee, they were part of us. They were part of us. And yet our brother's away dealing heroin. Does she not know any about that? Of course you knew nothing. Of course. Of course Hamza Yusuf knew nothing. Nothing. Of course they're all oblivious. They're all oblivious. Right. We digress. Let's share this. So let's go back to Anne-Marie. Let's cheer ourselves up.
So these are policy actor organisations who are delivering placebo policies to the Scottish Government, basically, and it's a case of the Scottish Government ministers relying on these so-called experts who, don't forget, got us into this mess, and the same experts to get us out of this mess. So I think these quangos play a significant role, and the easiest way to describe that is they are the tail wagging the dog, unfortunately. And until we change that, I don't think we're going to change much. Those bureaucratic structures, those quangos don't exist in other parts of the UK, and yet Scotland persists on wasting £20 million a year.
Well, where there's money, it's very people get addicted to that, don't they? To the cash. So if somebody's listening at the moment and thinking, yeah, I'm struggling with addiction,
£20 million a year.
Well, where there's money. It's very people get addicted to that.
There we go. Where there's money, people get addicted to that. What a great interview this is. What an incredible interview this is. Truly. We're getting to the root of almost everything. It's got so much hidden truth in this interview. It really is. It's exceptional. Because once these quangos are created, once these staff are getting paid six-figure salaries, once their underlings are getting paid, high five-figure salaries, there's no incentive to fix the problem, is there? And it always reminds me of this. Remember, we've got Ferguson Marine, the story of the ferries that don't float. Ferguson Marine, where we had Ferguson Marine had its own drug problems. let's share this tab now, just briefly. I'll come back. Ferguson Marine, our nationalised ferries, nationalised shipyard. A probe is underway at a crisis ship builder amid claims that staff been shooting up heroin at the yard. Again, hello, Scotland is a basket case. We need actual leadership here. John Swinney's not up to the job, ladies and gentlemen. John Swinney should have came out as soon as these numbers were released and said he was doing everything in his power to make these drug deaths come down. He should have done everything in his power to make these drug deaths come down. And yet, nothing. We get Neil Gray sent out to the media for like some sacrificial lamb to take the flak. John Swinney hiding behind Neil Gray. Hiding. But isn't it absolutely astounding, this interview? We're getting right to the roots of it all. By Ferguson Marine, what a total joke that is.
To the cash. So if somebody's listening...
I missed the point on Ferguson Marine, actually. What I meant to say, these quangos, once you've got the guys in six figures, high five figures, underlings, you've got a whole organisation under your belt. The incentive is to maintain that. Because you're maintaining, it feels like, again, see if you're running a business. And this is the stress and pressure it takes for running a business. And I know this personally, is that when you hire people and their bills are relying on you and your business on making sales, on increasing sales, on paying their mortgage, your business, I mean, the pressure is crazy. I didn't even have that much staff. I didn't. But I felt an immense level of pressure providing salaries for these people. Immense. And the pressure, because I wasn't getting funded to the tune of millions for the Scottish Government. You just have to go out and make the money. But when it comes to Ferguson Marine, they hired a turnaround director. A turnaround director that was getting paid £3,000, 3 bags of sand every day. Every single day. 24 hours goes past and this guy is getting paid 3 bags of sand. 3 bags. Every 24 hours. Do you think if you were getting paid £3,000 a day to complete a task and there was no incentive for actually completing the task? There was no incentive to say, oh, if you do this by X day, you'll get X amount of money. You're never going to complete the task in ample time. You're going to run out the clock, which is exactly what happened at Ferguson Marine, which is exactly what's happening with these quangos. Back to interview.
Moment and thinking, yeah, I'm struggling with addiction, or I think I'm there, or like you said, most will deny it, but you know, I'm sort of recognizing a bit of this. What is the hope of recovery? You said yourself you've recovered. Do you mind me asking what your addiction was?
Yeah, sure. Well, I used anything I could get my hands on, basically, Petra, but in the end I was using, you know, various Class A drugs, but also alcohol. Alcohol played a huge part. It was rare for me to use even Class A drugs without having used alcohol in the first place. So one of the major things I would say to anybody who is considering, you know, whether or not they have a problem is to ask themselves, does this cost me more than money? And if it's costing you more than money, there's a good chance that you're in trouble. And the easiest way to find out if you're in trouble or not is just, you know, you can Google Alcoholics Anonymous if it's alcohol, or Narcotics Anonymous if it's drugs. And there's very simple 20-question tests on those websites that you can ask yourself and score yourself. And if you do score yourself and you end up concerned that you may have a problem, you can attend one of those fellowships or many other fellowships. You've got Marijuana Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous. You know, if you're someone who even, you know, believe it or not, Under Earners Anonymous, you have Over Earners Anonymous, you've got over 200 12-step fellowships. Wow. And all of these fellowships have meetings online that you can attend and be completely anonymous. You don't even have to put your camera on. So you can go and listen to what the other addicts and alcoholics have to say and find out if there is something there that is useful to you. You know, it might just be that you've got a desire to stop drinking or to stop using drugs, and you don't consider yourself an alcoholic or an addict, and that's absolutely fine. The only requirement for these fellowships is a desire to stop using whatever the behaviour or the substance is. So you don't have to declare yourself. You don't have to give yourself any labels. You can just, you know, go along, attend the meeting. If you have a desire to find out more, you know, what have you got to lose?
Yeah. It's really fascinating, and I'm hoping that we get lots of calls from people later on. Anne-Marie Ward, thank you very much indeed for
Thank you, Anne-Marie Ward. Thank you very much indeed. So, I mean, what an incredible interview that was. It started off, we've got why this is happening, what the root causes of why it's happening in the interview. We've got the sort of the differentiation between Scotland and other parts of the UK. And then at the end, how to get help. I mean, this is the drug death situation in Scotland is not getting any better. It's just it's incredible that we've gotten to this stage after so long, after years, and it was, I can't remember what year it was. I think it was 2021 that I was at a Perth recovery walk, and we were throwing roses into the River Tay for everyone that died that day, that year. My bad. And it was just, see, we had what's that woman's name? Angela Constance at the time was the drugs minister, and she stood up at the Perth addiction walk and gave us this big spiel. Oh, we're listening, we're helping, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this, we're doing, and nothing happens. And nothing happens. It's all just empty platitudes every time with SNP. We need to stop listening to them, ladies and gentlemen. We need to cut our ties entirely with SNP. See, in 2026, I want to see an obliteration of the SNP. And like Anne-Marie says, I want people to obliviate the memories of in us about the SNP. We need that obliviation. We need to stop. We need to stop remembering what it's like with SNP around, because it's such a dark period here in Scotland with the SNP in charge. And with that sad outro to the show, we've been going on for 2 hours, almost 2.5 hours, guys, and we're almost at this 700 viewer mark. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, show. If you've been here for the start, I applaud your endurance. It's actually been quite a taxing show, if I'm honest. We've went through all this knifings, all the stabbings. It happens all the time. It gets you irate, it gets you upset, it gets you angry. But we're here for the duration, and we are here to make change. And we're not going to back down. We're going to go delving right into every single problem and just try to solve it. And how incredibly fortuitous it has been to have Anne-Marie Ward just appear out of nowhere. You know, I didn't ask her on, but she's come anyway. And this is, she will be so tired, so exhausted, having done a whole battery of interviews over the last day or so since the drug deaths come out. So again, Anne-Marie, thank you ever so much for popping in. I appreciate it endlessly. And again, if you don't already follow Anne-Marie, please do. And if you're looking for help, she can guide you in the right direction. And I would like to see Anne-Marie Ward put in a position in Scotland where she can make a real difference. Because I think if she was put in a position of real influence and real power, that we would start to see these drug deaths come down drastically over and not so long a time as well. But that's the end of the Niall Fraser show for this evening, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long one, but we did say we're going to do a bumper show. Right, guys. Good night from me. But before I go, it's the outro music. You'll catch me next week. I don't know if we'll do Wednesday, Thursday. I took the spot of 7 p.m. today because A Force for Good wasn't running a show, and I didn't want. I'm friends with Alistair, so I didn't want to just step on his toes and run in competition with him. So I like to change up the days as well. Sometimes I've got things on. You know, I can't do it on a set day every day. Anyway, thank God it's finished. Thank God I can get something to drink. Right, guys. Good night from me. Goodbye.